Afternoon, Vikasa. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, getting there, day at a time.
Okay. Why are we here today?
Um, it's very interesting, actually. This is something what I wanted to do. It's been about couple of years, also couple of years. I mean, 2018 देखि this is something what I wanted to start. र त्यति बेलामा चाहिँ म काममा ट्राभल गर्दाखेरि पोडकास्टहरू सुनिरहेको हुन्थेँ र अनि आफूलाई पनि दिमागमा ओके मेबी दिस इज समथिङ वाट वी क्यान डु वेल ड्राइभिङ हुन्छ नट एनिथिङ स्पेसिफिक तर त्यो ड्राइभ गर्दाखेरि जे थट आउँछ मेबी वी क्यान टक अबाउट इट ओके लाइक एनी ऱ्यान्डम थट्स भनेर त्यति बेलामा चाहिँ मेबी वी क्यान स्टार्ट भनेर जस्तो लागेको थियो अनि तर इट नेभर गट टु द्याट फ्रुटेसन स्टेज के हुन्छ नि सोच्न चाहिँ सोच्यो तर इट वाजन रियली अ प्रायोरिटी बट हबी टाइपको भएर बसिरहेको थियो हाउएभर त्यसपछि काममा बिजी भयो I always wanted to do this, but never got to start this. However, एउटा सानो त के भने it was a bit of a life-changing incident back in 2021 October. So I got diagnosed with leukemia and then त्यति बेलामा चाहिँ आफूलाई के फिल भयो भनेदेखि rather not just the accomplishments, तर आफूले नगरेको कुराहरूको चाहिँ regrets भयो कि त्यति बेलामा अनि this is probably one of those things as well, which I was thinking to myself, okay, I was planning for it. Plan was good in my head तर why didn't I execute it भन्ने कुरा चाहिँ मेरो दिमागमा जहिले पनि बसिरहेको थियो कि अनि त्यो भइसकेपछि चाहिँ अर्को एउटा कुरा चाहिँ कसो भयो भने त्यो हस्पिटलमा बस्दाखेरि पनि there was a gentleman 80 years his name was Paul and he has been associated with all the patients as well. There's a group this and that and what he said to me really hit a chord as well. He said let your mess be message for some other people भनेर भन्यो अनि it's so nice thought भने आस्ला अनि what could be a त्यो दुईटा आइडियालाई amalgamate गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ it can be a very good platform for us to share not just our experience but experiences of other people that can be a valuable lesson for others भन्ने चाहिँ दिमागमा आयो क्या that's how you let's start this भने जस्तो लाग्यो अनि our colleague here Ernest he's a cameraman as well, shout out to him. So we sat down and this is what I wanted to do. Technical कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ he came up with the name common ground. मैले चाहिँ okay, this is let's do something very raw हुन्छ नि where we can discuss about our experiences. No filters, we'll just talk. भन्ने हिसाबले कुरा गर्दा he came up so and we come up with the tagline as well, ordinary people with extraordinary stories. So यो सबै कुरा गरेर गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ then we sat down with you. Pitch the idea. You said you're into it as well. So yeah, that's what all this started.
Okay. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
यो सबै कुरा हुँदाखेरि चाहिँ what made you say yes to this thing?
Look, first of all, I love talking, right?
We all do.
Not just that. One of the story I always share to most of the people that ask me what made me get into this motivation session and talking to people. When I was doing my OA level, there was a friend. मेरो लागि friend भन्दा पनि दिदी बहिनी जस्तो भयो उसले मलाई स्टिल अहिले कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि तिमी मेरो माइत हो भन्छ उसको अरू फ्यामिली मेम्बर धेरै हुनुहुन्न सी इज म्यारिड अहिले ऊ अमेरिकामा छ उसको बच्चा बच्ची छ उसले मलाई सधैँ भन्थ्यो तिमीले हामीलाई पढाउँछौ हामीलाई हेल्प गर्छौ तिमीले हामीलाई मोटिभेट गर्छौ यसै गरी मोटिभेट गर्ने धेरैजना धेरै कम छन् र तिमीले जुन तरिकाले गर्छौ इट्स डिफरेन्ट why don't you do this because there are a lot of other people that could benefit from this त्यो हिसाबले चाहिँ हेल्प हुन सक्छ अरूहरूलाई पनि त्यसो भएर तिमीले एउटा युट्युब च्यानल वा केही गर भनेर उसले मलाई जहिले कराइरहेको हुन्थ्यो अनि मैले हुन्छ गरौँला भन्थेँ तर सधैँ त्यो पोइन्टमा पुगेन अनि जुन पोइन्टमा मैले लास्ट 2 years जस्तो भयो एउटा युट्युब च्यानल रेजिस्टर गरेँ ऊ एकदम खुसी थियो तर त्यस पछाडि न मैले टाइम पाउँछु अनि सधैँ ट्राभल गरिरहेको नि अनि कहिले 6 महिनामा कहिले 3 महिनामा कहिले एउटा सानो क्लिप रेकर्ड गर्थेँ द्याट्स अबाउट इट एन्ड देन वेन यु केम अप विथ आइडिया एन्ड यु फेस दिस that just struck gold with me. Exactly. This is something I wanted to do. I wanted to share my experience. I wanted to share things that I've learned in my life. I know there are thousands of other people who have bigger and better stories than mine, who have done so many things in there. That's way bigger than mine. But me as a ordinary international student living in Nepal, going to US, coming to Australia, what I've learned in life, मैले सिकेको सानो ठुलो कुरा जे नै होस् त्योबाट मैले कसैलाई मोटिभेट गर्न सक्छु भने maybe I've done something good भन्ने हिसाबले पनि I wanted to share my stories.
That's really good. I'm very happy that you said yes.
Thank you so much.
अनि अर्को एउटा कुरा चाहिँ मलाई के थप्न मलाई भन्दाखेरि whether there might be people who definitely there are people who are bigger, better than us. There are always are. Yeah. But at the same time, what I feel is everyone is unique.
Exactly.
And everyone has a different story.
100%. One thing on that, we always think our story is biggest. Exactly. Right? Until the day you are listening somebody else's story. It's not just hearing. It's listening. When you're actually giving your thoughts and your time and your energy and you're listening to somebody else, it might not seem as big, but they have fought their own big battles.
Exactly.
Compared to which your battle might be nothing.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I've learned from my incidents, things that I encountered in life as well. And today, this is like the great platform for us to be able to share that. And I want this to be something, what you want it to be, that we bring other people that have stories. Anybody who wants to come and share their stories, so that they can learn what their own strength too. Sometimes when we don't talk or when we don't share our things, we don't really know how much we have done ourselves.
That's one of the things, like lately what I've realized, सबैभन्दा गाह्रो कुरो के रहेछ भने because so if you ask a question to yourself, who am I भनेर, that's probably the hardest question to answer.
सबसे गाह्रो. It's definitely difficult because when people ask me, can you talk about yourself, that's the hardest thing. Not trying to say, oh, I want to brag about this or I want to say this, but literally, who am I in the perspective of everything else that we go through in a day-to-day basis.
र एउटा कुनै लाइफमा एउटा लाइफ चेन्जिङ इभेन्ट भएपछि चाहिँ समटाइम यु नट इन अ फिलोसफिकल वे बट मेबी टु सम एक्सटेन्ट आई डोन्ट नो है तर त्यहाँ बसेर रिफ्लेक्ट गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हुन्छ ओके वाट यु डन इन पास्ट इयर्स भनेर आफूले गरेको काम रिफ्लेक्ट गरेर यसो हेर्दाखेरि चाहिँ हु एम आई भनेर भन्दाखेरि पनि एज अ भनौँ न ओके आई माइट हेभ बिन वर्किङ एज अ म्यानेजर दिस द्याट बट that is a profession. That's not me.
No.
Exactly. When you sit down, look into the mirror and ask yourself, who exactly are you? That probably is the hardest question to answer.
I totally agree with you. I'll give this question back to who is Shirish Gautam.
Oh, goodness me. Please don't do this to me at this moment. No. One thing, I like this idea of, I read it somewhere and I saw in your series, what he does is, so you're thinking mode ma gayo bhन्छ he sits down in front of a blank wall and stares at the wall के हुन्छ so that he gets his mind straight. So र ऐनामा चाहिँ अब यो कति आफूले मान्छेले यो म्यानिफेस्टेसनको कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि okay talk to you this and that भन्छ. I really like that doing to myself as well. I look into the mirror and I ask सबै मैले कहिले केही गर्छु भनेको काम भएन अथवा के भइरहेछ भनेर गर्दाखेरि if you sit there sometimes the amazing thing is you don't like what you see in the mirror yourself. I don't know whether that has happened to you or not. Sometimes I do that. I'm very self-critical. And र त्यो मिररमा कहिले कहिले हेर्दाखेरि रिफ्लेक्सन हुन्छ नि okay if I question myself sometimes when you dive deep into yourself you don't like the person that you see.
100% I agree. First of all oil त मोटा छु त्यसो I don't like myself either. Like लुगा हेरे पनि टाइट भइरहेको my closet has grown from this much of the clothes that used to fit me to this much, so definitely त्यो चाहिँ outer हो. हामी धेरै टाइममा मिररमा अगाडि उभिएर we look at our outer beauty, we look at what we see in the mirror and we just give reflection. Oh, I look good, this is what it is. Now when you go further beyond that aesthetic of what you see outside, there's so much things that's different, right? त्यो गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ के भने I'm looking at who am I as a person, what makes me happy, what are something I do in day-to-day basis, what are something that gets me energized to wake up every morning, what are things, how do I look at what's going to happen that day. Every morning that person that I see in the mirror is different. Every afternoon person I see in that mirror is different. Face might be same, but so many times people don't understand that. I was listening to one of the reels and I saw this and that hit me very hard. We talk about people changing and doing so many things, right? Egg gets broken two different ways. One, it gets broken from outside, another from inside. And the guy said, when you break it from outside, it's the death of the life. And when you break it from inside, it's start of life. And that was so deep because basically think of if it's broken from outside, you're turning into eggs, omelette, poached eggs, fried egg, whatever you want to call. But when it's broken from inside, a check is born.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a new
So yeah, new life. And when you fit, this is same thing. When we are doing things based on what other people want us to do, that's breaking from outside. We're literally following the tradition things that another want you to do. Like breaking an egg and turning into omelette because that's what that person wanted. Breaking an egg, turning into poached egg because that's what the person wanted. But when you are broken from inside, you are chick. You'll do your own thing. You'll run around. You'll do whatever you need. So sometimes these change needs to come from inside. When you look at the mirror, you're the only judgment of yourself. Nobody else is telling anything.
That's exactly true because अहिले जे भइरहेछ with myself as well regarding all these conditions and everything. This morning when I said okay to my to Shirish, my 10-year-old son, I said okay today we're going to record the first episode of Common Ground. He was pretty excited. र उसले मलाई हेरेर चाहिँ के भन्यो भने बाबा there are few things that has been literally been changing over the weeks. Every week my like physically it change भइरहेछ due to medication and everything. उसले के भन्दै are you okay, you're going to record like this one भन्यो. अनि मैले well if that is what's going to stop me, I probably will never start.
Okay.
किनभनेदेखि बाहिरको फिजिकल हेरेर गर्ने हो भने probably I'll never start what I want to do. Outside it doesn't really bother me, so it shouldn't bother you either. र अर्को एउटा कुरा चाहिँ के भएको छ भने अझै हाम्रो I don't get to spend as much time with him as much as I would love to. अनि जति टाइम भेटिन्छ त्यसमा पनि अनि I ask him different sort of questions. हुन्छ नि ओके अनि मैले उसलाई त्यही सोधेछु what do you think is important हुन्छ नि अनि बाबाले यस्तो भएन अनि he was like I was just wondering how people will see you if in the videos and everything. And I said, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. No. And to some extent, it will to others, but hardly that really doesn't bother me. No. Because this is how I am and I need to accept it. जे भए पनि लाइफमा जुनसुकै स्टेजमा भने first thing that I find really important is acceptance. अब जे हुनु थियो भयो तर if you start questioning yourself, why me? Why does it happen to me? How you never gonna get through things. So the best thing is to that acceptance is a very big word. It may not be like that might be my personal opinion. However, I think that has helped me a lot.
I agree with you. I don't know how much you recall these conversations a long time ago. We have had this. For me too, in one life, going through a lot of instances, one thing I've learned is stop questioning what happened in the past and why it did happen. Mm-hmm. And the day I accepted it did happen to me, I was no longer hold back. I was moving ahead. I was looking ahead. Exactly. And I was dealing with things that came ahead of me. And, you always hear about all these motivation, and one of them is you drive by looking at windscreen, not the rear view mirror. And so many times, us not accepting, like, पहिला भइसकेको इन्सिडेन्टलाई चाहिँ स्टिल क्यारी अन गऱ्यौँ भने चाहिँ गाडी चलाउँदाखेरि ब्याक भ्यू मिररमा हेरेर चला जस्तै हो भनेर हैन किनभने हामीले पछाडि के भइसकेको छ त्यो कुरा वी कान्ट कन्ट्रोल whatever we passed as a vehicle moving forward, we've left them behind. But if we start driving still by looking behind, we'll get into an accident. And I've thoroughly followed that aspect in life. Exactly. And I think since the time I stopped questioning and accepting things, it has been a lot easier to move ahead and look at things. And I plan to continue doing that. And
exactly. मलाई पहिला सानो हुँदाखेरि that's how my father बाबाले चाहिँ त्यही बुझाइसिन्थे कि जहिले पनि कुरा गर्दाखेरि everything happens for a reason भनेर भन्छिन्थे हैन बाबाले भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ everything happens for good events भन्छिन्थे त्यसलाई चाहिँ आफ्नै स्टाइलले बिस्तारै अब बुझ्दै जाँदाखेरि things change मैले चाहिँ everything happens for a reason भन्ने एउटा कुरा त्यो चाहिँ आफुलाई हुन्छ नि र अर्को एउटा मन्त्र that I live by is it could have been worse.
Yeah, 100%.
That's two things that I live by. So it has made my life immensely okay during those hard times when I had to stay in hospital for months after months as well. It has made my life so much easier because I always think that okay, at least I'm here. It could have been worse. What could be worse? I don't want to even think about it. I just think about it. Okay, yes, it could have been worse.
Definitely. Like whenever you're looking at those incidents, we always go to the extreme at first.
Exactly.
But there is more extreme than what we see.
Exactly.
So in that regards, obviously our plan is to bring topics from different areas, talk to people from different groups all over, whoever wants to share their story, and also be informative as well.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So what are the ideas or plan or what you want this to be besides that conversation?
I would love to have people who are genuinely want to share their stories. There's no bars. What I think was like, there's no bars. Okay, this should be okay. There should be an X factor or something like that. I just want it to be very raw. People come, share the experiences, not in a sense that okay, they come and talk about your girlfriend and breakups and everything. Well, I enjoy those. I enjoy those. I've heard lots of working in college as well. I've heard a lot of those as well. However, not every episode I think will be entertaining those sort of things.
Do you have any good stories?
Oh goodness, there are tons. Trust me, at one point of time we thought about writing a book as well.
No. I still want to do, because some of those instances in talking about experience, one of the ones I remember is I had a student that came through after a holiday. I thought it was like Christmas, some holiday, and I talked to the student and I asked, how was your holiday? And he said, hopefully, and he walked away. And I just looked at the student. I was trying to see if hopefully he will have a better holiday next year, or hopefully what. So like I was more like, huh? But he walked past me and I was just literally didn't know how to respond.
There are so many incidences. त्यो हुन्छ नि धेरै कति मान्छेहरूले त्यो आफूले के भन्न खोजेको कुरा पनि कहिलेकाहीँ नबुझेर हुन्छ कि कहिलेकाहीँ उनीहरूले बुझाउन खोजेको कुरा प्रपरली बुझाउन नसकेर हुन्छ कि there has been so many incidences that probably we can sit down and write a very good coffee book.
Definitely might be down the stream with regards to this. But as far as everything goes in here, you come through, you pass through a major incident in life, right? So now forgetting, I want to talk about those incidents in another episode where we talk a little bit more in depth regarding what it is. Now, how do you see life ahead of you?
That's a very big question at the moment, because the way things are at the moment, definitely, I've stopped making long-term plans at the moment, because more options, that's from my perspective though, because it might vary so much with people may not agree with what I'm saying here, but that is very applicable to me, because I'll share a very duita incident भयो यो year last year ko यो year ma चाहिँ के भयो भन्दै because I started watching World Cup since I was 6-year-old 1990 हैन 1990 मा चाहिँ हजुरको अर्जेन्टिना र वेस्ट जर्मनीको त्यति बेला वेस्ट जर्मनी भन्थ्यो उनीहरुको फाइनलमा पुग्यो एन्ड त्यति बेलामा भनेको हाम्रो अब स्ट्र्याटेजी टिम कम्बिनेसन भन्दा पनि which player was on the top of the game भन्दा डिएगो म्याराडोना. That's how I started watching and supporting Argentina हैन. के भयो भनेदेखि 1990 को फाइनलमा 1986 मा अर्जेन्टिनाले वेस्ट जर्मनी जितेको 1990 मा गएर अर्जेन्टिना got beaten by West Germany. So that's when I started, but from then on they've never won World Cup. This time around, being in the hospital in and out this and that, सबै म्याचेसहरु हेरिरहेको थिएँ, but literally the next day was the final. Again, France and Argentina were playing, and I had to be admitted in the afternoon. I missed that one. Another incident, just last week, you know, about the 13th February, my birthday, and she booked some place in Gold Coast, and he was like, okay, we'll okay, let's do something because mom pani aisins. Literally, we planned that small getaway on 11th, and we are planning to come back on 13th afternoon. On the 11th one, 10th ko rati, I had to get admitted in hospital again. So, with all these things, I stopped making long-term plans. I take a day at a time, but I make the most of what is available to me. Because when I'm sitting down with my little one, I'm trying at most possible, although I don't use my phone at all because I want to be present in the moment. What I've realized is, consciously, if you're trying it conscious, just like breathing, conscious breathing, we do it. Otherwise, our natural breathing, same thing. If you're not really conscious, what we normally are doing is either we are thinking about the past or about the future. We don't live into that present moment. But what I'm trying to do is consciously as well. क्या हुन्छ नि कसैसँग कुरा भइरहेछ भने त्यही मोमेन्टमा ओके आई वान्ट टु लिभ द्याट मोमेन्ट अहिलेको मेरो लाइफस्टाइल चाहिँ त्यही नै छ विकास
द्याट्स रियली गुड किनभने धेरैजनाको सुन्छु मलाई पनि अब बिजनेस मोडमा आयो सबै कुरा अस्ति मलाई एउटा इन्टरभ्यूमा उहाँले सोध्नुभएको थियो वाट्स योर गोल वाट्स योर लाइक यु नो कोट वा त्यस्तो वाट इज योर फिलोसफी मैले पनि लिभ वान डे एट अ टाइम किनभने पहिला चाहिँ सबै प्लान it's not that I don't plan. Exactly. I have a plan, but I take one day at a time. I don't know what tomorrow is. I don't know what day after tomorrow is. And you're just saying that asti suneko त्यही periodमा भन्थ्यो today is difficult, tomorrow is extremely difficult, and day after tomorrow is extremely easy, but you die tomorrow night भन्थ्यो के भने पछाडि हामीले आज we work hard today, we are going to work hard tomorrow in the hopes of things to be easy the very next day. What happens if you're not there the very next day?
Exactly. That I really agree with that idea because कहिलेकाहीँ मान्छेले भन्छ नि okay I'll do that अहिले चाहिँ यो पर्सपेक्टिभ yes we do need a plan. However कसैले भन्छ नि okay I'll do this, however I'm planning to do this next year or maybe 6 months time कतै यसो भेकेसन आनन्द मैले धेरै सो साथीहरू भाइहरूसँग कुरा गर्दा दाजुभाइहरूसँग कुरा गर्दा मैले चाहिँ के भन्ने travel as much as possible, travel because that's how you gain experience and knowledge. Best form is to travel, which I regret. मैले चाहिँ धेरै travel गर्न पाएको छैन to be honest, which I would love to. म उनीहरूलाई अनि सबैको कुरा सुन्दा oh we are planning for this in maybe a couple of years time, and sometimes I just sit there and wonder because the way things happen to me, I've seen other people let's share their experience and then I'm looking like how do people know, like that's one of the irony. We think
we have time. Yeah.
Which no one knows, whether that's a comma, whether that's a full stop, we don't know. But that's the irony of life. Okay, we plan way ahead.
Exactly. No, and obviously plan needs to be there.
Definitely.
But it's not that you are doing everything by the plan either. Because in life things doesn't happen by plan. Exactly. I had so many plans for myself. Except the things that happened in my life. That wasn't in my plan.
Exactly.
Same goes to you, 100%, right? 100%. That routine visit to the doctor
turned out to be
something else, right? Else. But that wasn't in your plan. Your plan was to finish your blood test and come to work here at 9:30.
If you remember, I was sending you pictures. Like, okay, I don't know what they're doing with me. I was sending you pictures. I was joking all this time. I was in the hospital as well, completely unknown of what was about to come. But then again, that's how I take it. It's life.
But at the end of this, that's one thing I think. Some tragedy or some instances that come or happen in your life cater you or direct you to take different perspective in life. Do you agree with that?
Oh, 100%. 100%. Like these days, I sometimes sit down with my parents as well. मम्मीहरुसँग नै कुरा गर्दाखेरि पनि I just tell them or few other people also is, they worry too much. Sometimes I feel like I'm listening to people and I'm thinking, okay, मान्छेले दिमागमा चाहिँ नेगेटिभिटी चाहिँ चाँडो मल्टिप्लाई गर्छ जस्तो लाग्छ क्या सर मलाई हुन्छ नि अनि they are sometimes worrying about things that may not even happen tomorrow. So I'm thinking you are thinking about and worrying about something that may not happen tomorrow and you're wasting your present for that. That doesn't make sense to me. And another thing that has the whole thing a change is when you're in some sort of adversity, it gives you a very, very good opportunity to know people.
100%.
That shows the very true color of people who, like, nothing against anyone or anything as such, but it helps you. It just increases it gives you a different perspective. So
and with these, what I've figured is also that when those instances come through, things happen in life, you build a defense mechanism for yourself as well. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm not going to do. And same thing in regards to the people in your life. When we're in school, we're like a bus. We want to attract all the friends, everything, everybody else, right? You leave out of schooling, Sokyo. Then when you go to college, your friends decrease to like a minivan or highest 10, 12.
Mhm.
Then you leave that aspect and you go into your professional career. By that time, your friends are that will fit into your car, right? Literally. And to a point, if you are getting to certain aspect in life, your friend decreases to Lamborghini, maybe 2 seats or 3 seats. Not enough people. And one thing that has made me realize everything in life is what is this is as you go through different phases in life, you start picking and choosing based on your interest, based on needs. It's not the quantity, but it's the quality.
Exactly. That's what I keep on telling everyone. It's any time of the day, it's quality over quantity. I can sit down. एउटा राम्रो कुरा चाहिँ आफूलाई के लाग्छ भने I can sit down by myself. Like you can lock me for 2 days. Like I'll still be fine. I can do that. Same कुरा चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ anyway. Rather than going into the mass and be people pleaser, this, that, गरेर हल्ला गर्नु भन्दा, I'd rather have 2 people and have a very good conversation. That gives me a very good time.
Obviously, there are people in business that might require networking. I'm not
Definitely.
against those people.
Oh,
I'm not
definitely.
saying don't network, not make friends.
Exactly.
But what I'm trying to say is, if you want quality in life, quality is always received when it's small, not when it's in big quantity.
Exactly.
It's very rare to say I do quality, but I have all this quantity, right? And
maybe we are built as such. I don't know. Maybe we are built different. हैन अब कहिलेकाहीँ चाहिँ कस्तो हुन्छ भनेदेखि यो सबै चिज हेर्दाखेरि पनि एउटा आफ्नो स्पेस भन्ने एउटा चिज पनि इम्पोर्टेन्ट चाहिँ हुँदो रहेछ है विकासहरू हुन्छ नि ओके इट डजन्ट म्याटर जो आफ्नो अलिकति ब्रेनलाई नै डिटक्स गर्न नहोस् कि के होस् कि बिकज यु आर फेड सो मच अफ इन्फर्मेसन लिटरली एभ्री डे स्पेसली इफ यु नाउ आई क्यान इमेजिन द लेभल अफ आई वुड नट से स्ट्रेस बट एट द सेम टाइम हुन्छ नि द डिसिजन एक्ज्याक्टली टु डु लिस्ट पहिला त्यो काम गर्न आउँदाखेरि 20वटा ओके इफ आई ह्याड 20 थिङ्स टु डु इन अ डे घर फर्किँदाखेरि 25वटा हुन्थ्यो क्या त्यो क्रस गर्ने भन्दा पनि एड चाहिँ भइरहेको थियो भनेपछि कस्तो हुन्छ त्यो मी टाइम एउटा चाहिँ आफूलाई चाहिँ चाहिँदो रहेछ टु डिटक्स मी टाइम भन्नाले चाहिँ कस्तो भने मलाई एक्लै बस्नुपर्छ भन्ने छैन इफ आइम स्पेन्ड माई टाइम विथ माई लिल वान द्याट्स त्यसले मलाई चाहिँ हुन्छ नि एउटा हेड चाहिँ मेरो क्लियर चाहिँ गराउँछ सो यु डेफिनेटली निड द्याट टाइम भन्ने जस्तो चाहिँ लाग्दो रहेछ वेदर वाट मेक्स यु ह्याप्पी वाट यु प्यासनेट अबाउट फर एक्जाम्पल माई सिस्टर सी लभ्स टु डान्स सी विल लक herself up and she will dance for half an hour 45 minutes and she will come out really हुन्छ नि सबै त्यो दिमागमा के थियो सबै त्यो कुल डाउन भएको हिसाबले निस्किन्छ एभ्रीवन लाइक what is the best form of therapy for you जस्तै हुन्छ नि
see I love listening to music, right?
Yeah, me too. Exactly.
And sometimes I don't know, my friends make fun of me for this, but I'm someone who likes to listen to sad and shappy music, but it somehow tends to cheer me up. I put those sad or romantic song or something that has those like very like रुन्चे म्युजिक भने जस्तो कहिलेकाहीँ साथीहरूले भन्छ कस्तो केटीले सुन्ने गीत जस्तो वा लाइक दिस इज टु लाइक गर्ललेस but because of the lyrics I get attracted to those music.
Exactly.
I can't do heavy rocks or things like that.
I
know
that's
what I'm
I
saying.
do listen to punk rock as well. I do listen to funny thing is when I'm at home यो मैले सुनेको म्युजिक सुनेर वन्स म ममा यस्तो डिप्रेसिङ म्युजिक किन सुन्छस् भन्छ क्या वाट आई वाज लिसनिङ टु इज इन्डियन क्लासिकल सुनिरहेको थिएँ हुन्छ नि अब त्यति बेला म गजलहरू यस्तो आइरहेको थिएँ अनि मम्मी यसलाई तिमी यस्तो गीत पनि सुन्थ्यौ र अरे म हाई स्कुल सकेपछि मम्मी दे वेन्ट टु युएस अनि त्यति बेला कस्तो हुन्थ्यो नि all I used to listen was punk rock.
Okay.
त्यति बेला हेभी मेटल सुन्थ्यो अनि mom was very surprised यो के सुने तिमीहरूले भनेर भन्छन्थ्यो क्या but at the same time I listen to all the genres of music. I like listening to music. हस्पिटलमा हुँदाखेरि पनि they used to be days when I didn't even want to talk to anyone because I had no energy. But when I put my headphones on, I'm in a very different space. I'm in a different zone. I can literally be there. It really bothers me. Music is a very good therapy for me.
Yeah, like music. Like if I quiet music playing on the background, and second thing I like is nature aspect. If I can be like sometimes I go hiking and all that, or driving through like just even nature aspect. I was in Kins this week, and I was up there, and I was just driving through the rainforest and everything, and just even seeing all those trees, everything else, it reminded me of back home, back in Nepal, and everything else. But no matter how much amount of things I have in the plate, it makes me forget that. And sometimes windy, curvy road is better because then I'm focused on the road, focused on my music, and then the nature. So It's been one of those. Look, I think we've had fair bit of conversation today. Hoping to have a more focused session from next one on.
Sure.
But I think this is the time to conclude our first episode that we are doing for Common Ground.
Yep.
Again, thank you for having me as part of this.
I'm really happy that you are part of it as well. And before we say goodbye for today, like what I wanted to share as well with others is, please feel free to get in touch with us. Right? If you've got a story to share, if you think that's going to help someone else, like why we are talking, why am I personally talking so much about me going through this situation is there might be things that might be beneficial for others. That's one of the things. It's not I'm too molesto boy when I'm not looking for sympathy, I'm not looking for anything. But कसो भने मलाई भएको कुराले अर्को कसैलाई पनि केही इन्फर्मेसन जान्छ, हेल्प हुन्छ भने I encourage more people to come out and talk about things. However, what I found is, especially in our community as well, हस्पिटलमा बस्दाखेरि धेरै मान्छेसँग कुरा भइरहेको हुन्थ्यो अनि त्यही बेलामा चाहिँ के भने somehow I don't know why but हाम्रो cultural thing हो कि के हो अब they don't want to go out and talk about, they're not very comfortable. However, I'm exactly the opposite. If someone asks me, okay, तँलाई के भएको थियो भनेर सोद्धाखेरि अथवा तिमीलाई के भएको थियो भन्दाखेरि I'm more than happy to share my experience because it might be beneficial for someone else. और कस्तो हुन्छ नि आफूले कुरा गरेपछि they might tell me something that is beneficial to me. हुन्छ नि अहिलेको यही कुरा गर्दाखेरि okay, there are few things that's going on. अस्ति एकजना दाइसँग बस्दाखेरि he was talking about diet, how it helped him, this and that. अनि अब आज अस्ति त्यही दाइसँग सोधेँ recommended book. आज बिहान book आइपुगेछ. I thought it was a very small book, but unfortunately it's 400 pages. So I don't know where I finished. But मैले भने जब when we talk about it, then only we can know about it more भन्ने आशा लाग्छ क्या मलाई चाहिँ. त्यही हो. That's why I encourage others, if anyone is listening or watching, I encourage people to share their story. Even if you're geographically यहाँ हुन सकिदैन भने पनि we have got other means. Send us an email, send us a message in Facebook. We are more than happy to get your story out here as well.
I think Ernest will do that, put our email or how to reach out to us.
Exactly.
So that way at least whoever wants to share their side of the story, we can talk. And on the topic of what you just, I think we will go a little bit further in the second episode regarding the tragedy and how things changed in life. Thank you so much for everybody listening. Thank you, and thank you, Ernest, and everybody else.
Likewise. We'll see you in next episode. Thank you.